recording to the cloud on. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, welcome everybody. This is Ed Westerfield along with Harry Ramsbottom, and another week of just absolute insanity. It's amping up. It's getting to the point where you have to start looking, and I'll be talking about what a J.D. Vance presidency would look like. But I'm going to let Harry come in. He's the guy that made a career out of analyzing uh, countries that are getting ready to go through upheavals, and I think we qualify now. So, what do you think, Harry?
I think so. I don't. I'm not sure your actual microphone is on. You're coming
Oh,
in very
let me
weak.
check again.
Yeah. All right. But anyway, while you're figuring out your technical stuff over there, yeah. I mean, I've been saying for a long time that I'm getting less and less optimistic that we're going to avoid violence here. We've already seen political violence. It seems to be picking up, and by political violence, when you've got people killing each other, shooting each other, or plotting to shoot each other for because of political issues, that's political violence. And whether you're Gretchen Whitmer or a couple of Minnesota lawmakers or whatever, or just people standing on a street corner doing something that the other side doesn't like, there's got to be more of that. I'm pretty sure of it. So anyway, um, you know, whenever I see a shooting now, my first reaction is it going to be political? And it isn't always political, uh, but right now that's where I immediately go to, because more and more that is what we're seeing, and we're seeing not just we've watched the right arm themselves and talk tough and invest in tacticals for God over a decade now, but now we're seeing the left do it as well. And there's a lot of people who have never shot a weapon in their life that now want to. They're becoming more and more interested in it. And as far as political speech goes and people protesting, um, the Pew Research folks just put out a study this week, or I guess is over the weekend, that said that Americans no longer feel safe talking about politics. And when they broke it down, that's by and far the left who no longer feels safe speaking out about politics. The right does. They've been emboldened because they're in power and they can. The other side of that, of course, is now we we're seeing U.S. not just U.S. persons, not just people who are here legally, but not citizens. But now we're seeing citizens being detained, U.S. citizens being detained by ICE and Department of Homeland Security, and it's only going to be a matter of time before that becomes more and more common. And frankly, I only see it being one Supreme Court decision away. And I'm not sure that I'm pretty sure I don't trust the Supreme Court to rule justly and constitutionally on that issue. So there.
They are
So
totally in the pocket of Trump and the MAGA Corp. The
they
MAGA.
certainly seem to be. So the only way to take our country back, if we can't take it back in this next election in a year and a bit, if that's even allowed to happen, then the only way past that will be violence.
It's good you brought that up because I'm starting to see that talk finally coming into even the legacy media now. And when you start seeing people that, up until recently, you could believe as a news source, starting to say that, now we're looking at what they've accomplished on Project 2025 and what they have left to do, shutting down elections. I mean, I still think, it's probably a coin flip right now. It's you just need
I
one.
I agree. I think it's a coin flip right now. I wouldn't make a bet, but I'm not optimistic it's going to happen.
Yeah, and when you talk about we're going to have to be the ones that go take it back, we're not predisposed, as people on the left that use violence to get our way. It's
Well,
and I just go ahead.
you know what, I think that's not true.
Okay.
I really don't.
All right.
And it's certainly true that the legacy Democrat, the legacy left leadership is not predisposed to violence. They certainly don't talk about violence. They don't invoke it
No, they
when
write stern
they talk
letters.
about making change. But let's be realistic. Saying left leaning people aren't into violence completely ignores the fact that most of the revolutions in our lifetime in this last century, maybe ever, have all been led by leftists. Yeah. So, at some point, and it is a reality in terrorism, at some point when a political population no longer feels that they can get what they want, they can achieve what they want through the ballot box, then a hardcore minority of them turn to violence. And that's what an insurgency is. That's what creates an insurgency. When the people no longer feel that they have a political voice, they turn to violence. And I think that's what we're going to see happen. Again, let's just go back. I think the last time I was on this show, we talked a little bit about this gang of idiots in wherever it was in Texas, somewhere just outside of Dallas, that took it on themselves to shoot up an ICE detention facility and shot a police officer. Uh, that's absolutely political violence. Those were absolutely leftists doing that. And if they are doing it in a nation of 300 and what 35 million, they're certainly not the only ones. So it's already happening. It's and people are watching that. People can see if you already are thinking about violence, if you already have that mindset, if you think if you're just waiting for that last straw to break the camel's back, then you see an event like that, you read it in the news, and you think, okay, well, now it's time. If they could do it, why can't we? I see how they fucked up. I won't do that. I've got a better way. And maybe you do, and maybe you don't, but it doesn't matter because there are probably at least 10 other people around the country that are thinking the same way as you. And the more that happens, the more you fill that room with monkeys and typewriters, the closer you come to creating a work of art.
Yeah.
Here's another thing to remember, too.
Okay.
When it comes to terrorism, they don't have to be effective or successful every time. They don't even have to be effective or successful the majority of times. They just have to be effective and successful one time in the right possible way. That's all it takes.
And that's one of the things that I keep seeing, and I'm seeing more often, is people openly talking about uh, the imminent demise of one particular person in our society, and it's like strangers on the street, talking about it and agreeing on it. So I mean, it's like I've never seen that in my life. I've,
I don't know if I can't say I've never seen it in my life, but I'm certainly seeing it as well. I'm certainly seeing, and let's be realistic. I mean, he's older than shit. He's sick. I mean,
oh, very.
you just look at him. The guy is not a picture of health. If we thought the Biden was not fit for office, and he was not, that's just a fact, then certainly Trump is not either. He is no more fit than
Trump
Biden
is
was.
more unfitter for office, but at the same time, you had a lot of coverage coming from the legacy press that didn't hone in and press. I mean, it's like when you come out and your doctor, who, if I had a chance to turn him into the board for just patently false information about his health, uh, and you're trying to tell me that, oh, the guy only weighs 210 pounds. It's like, I've been estimating weights for close to 40 years as an anesthesiologist. I'm pretty
Yeah, because if you're wrong, somebody dies.
Yeah, well, and I can tell you that guy's over 300 pounds if he's an ounce. And as far as his height, you just have to look at who he stands next to, people that you know what their heights are. And then you see, oh, wait, he's using lifts and, 3-inch heels when he walks around. I mean, no, this is, and, you know, why do they continue to lie? It's like, oh, yeah, he's in, terrific health, the best. And it's like, okay, then why is his ankle swollen? And don't give me this venous insufficiency crap, because I know what it looks like.
Let me put you on
Lazy.
pause for a minute,
Okay.
because Louis does not have an invite. He's ready to go. If you want to
Oh,
send him
okay.
an invitation, he just texted us with that information. I'll
Oh,
text
that's
him
what it
back.
was. Okay.
So anyway, no, listen, I I agree with you. It's I think, I think there's a reticence in the press and the responsible media to call out people for their age, because it is ageist, and it's got to be more than just a number on a calendar that says that you're unfit. I think it should be. But
I agree.
and so when people do call that out with very little, with just no hard evidence, just just anecdotal evidence, they can get called for it. But we all saw it. I mean, I was watching it live as it happened. I had a live stream on. I think I did during the debate where Biden just absolutely, went off wandering
Oh,
verbally
yes.
down the path of ridiculousness. And I was like, at that point, I was like, I knew this is done. He's done. I don't know how we're
Oh,
going to get out
I
of
was
this.
just horrified watching it, guys.
Yeah,
You know the implications of what's happening, in real time, and it's like we just lost.
that's exactly how I felt. I mean, it was like, oh crap, here we go. But the thing is, what was it? A month later, when Kamala Harris debated Trump, and Trump was just as stupid, but somehow he got a pass on it. Um, that I think that shouldn't have happened. Somebody should have
Yeah,
been
yeah. I
just as
mean,
hard on Trump as they were on Biden, and we're seeing it happen now. The guy's melting down, uh, both on his social media, in life. He can't keep on a subject. He wanders off. He's always said stupid shit, but it's just gotten worse.
no,
And
it's stupid, incoherent shit.
yeah,
There's a difference.
it really is. So yeah, I wonder. I wonder what's going to happen too. But I'm more inclined right now to believe that even if Trump turned into a gibbering idiot foaming at the mouth on live TV, they would cover that up, and they would not emplace a JD Vance. You know,
Uh, they're going to weekend at Bernie this guy as long as
yeah.
they can.
Well, yeah. I mean, or again,
Rightfully,
my favorite one is Woody Allen's Sleeper from 1973.
that was a good one.
But of course, only old farts like you and me saw that, which is a shame because it's a hilarious movie. And yes, and you know what? It's got the common tie of a pedophile. But yeah, I really do think that we've had presidents before. We know this, who have been incapacitated in office. The most famous example being Woodrow Wilson, but that was literally over 100 years ago, and it was a little bit harder to do. But Congress was more complicit. Nobody really was going after him, and things were being handled. But when Ronald Reagan started going off the rails, and we didn't know his diagnosis for autism, not autism, memory loss, whatever.
Well, I
We
mean,
didn't know that
he
he
actually
had
had
been
dementia,
diagnosed. Yeah, with Alzheimer's. Um,
and probably it was affecting him definitely the last 2 years of his presidency.
certainly, and you can look back and see that and go, oh yeah, you know what, that makes sense. But now we've got the aid of AI. We've got the aid of a slavishly attentive group of sycophants around him who owe their entire political and financial existence to this guy. And unless they can see a reason not to, they're going to let him sit in there for another 3 years. I don't see them doing anything to end that.
No, I totally agree with that. So the uh, well, I mean, it's like once you go down, that path, Peter Thiel is, I look at him. He wants to be the shadow president, and
Yeah.
the only way he does that is to put his puppet in, JD. And so, I've been gaming it out in my head. When do you do it? Because as soon as you take Trump out, the MAGA base is going to go apeshit if they think that you're the one that pulled the trigger.
Well, I would have said that was true 2 weeks ago. But then we have the Epstein files and the MAGA base.
Epstein
You've got Mike Johnson, the sickest of sycophants, who would literally do anything to keep Trump in power, except go against his base. And his base, apparently, the good folks, the good MAGA people of Bossier City, Louisiana, and Shreveport, or wherever the hell he's from, uh, clearly want to see the list, because I'm sure they're bending his ear. And the reason I say I'm sure of that is because he's increasingly saying every day, to include today, that we need to see the files. We need to have them released. We need to see the list. I think he and others are listening to their voters, who are clearly very angry about this and agitated, and having to make a decision between, is it better to piss off Trump or better to piss off my voters? And some of them are starting to say, you know what, it's better to piss off Trump.
Yeah, you're starting to see just the very beginnings of some pushback. I mean, certainly Tom Tillis, who now is in the I don't give a fuck stage.
Well, James Comer.
Yeah.
Is it James? Is it Comer? No, it's
Yeah.
the other Kentucky guy. It's another
Massey. There's Massey.
Massey, Thomas Massey. Yes, the other Kentucky congressman with a bad hairdo.
And the thing is, these guys were, founding members of MAGA and the far right. So it's
Yeah.
like, where are you going to find somebody even more MAGA than these guys? It's like, what box do they not check?
Even Marjorie Taylor Greene has clearly been conflicted about what to say and what to do. So it really is causing a rift. And the more Trump digs his heels in, because let's be realistic, he's on the list. We know he's on the list. We don't know how complicit he is. We don't know what it says about him being on the list.
Pretty sure
but he's certainly in there.
He's pretty damn complicit.
Well, that's just it. He knows. And if he thought there was anything in there that said Trump never went to the island, never flew on a plane, and thought that Epstein was a terrible person, if that said that and all of this stuff, of course he would put it out there. But it clearly doesn't say that.
It would have been out, bound up, sold for $59.99 through Trump Bibles or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be out there, absolutely. And the thing is, I still think that you had enough Democrats on that list that there was a huge amount of reticence to out those, because I'm sure Bill Clinton was on that list pretty thoroughly. So
let me just say right now, I do not give a fuck who is on that list. If they are on, if it's Bill Clinton, if it's Hillary Clinton, if it's Kamala Harris, I'm not saying Kamala Harris or Hillary Clinton on the list. I think that'd be silly. But anyway, whoever's on the list, let them hang. They should absolutely hang if they're on. If we can pin something illegal on them, then absolutely they should be tried for it, whoever they are. And I'm totally okay with that. I think it'd be really good for America if all of that did come out, whoever was on that list.
Well, I think you're going to find out there's a lot of billionaires on that list that
Oh yeah.
And they have a lot more to lose than frankly the politicians do.
Well, everyone's got their freedom potentially at
Yeah,
stake, but yeah, but yes, billionaires have even more because they have more. Uh, they could lose it all, and
and
you know what? I'd be okay with that too.
yeah, me too. Absolutely. Well, have we heard anything from Louis yet?
He texted and said he was going to check his email, but he's not here, and that was a while ago. So I don't know. I'm not counting on it. And I got to be honest with you. Since we got off to a late start, I'm starving. So we're not going to go on forever.
Okay, no problem with that. So, well, I mean, let's again. This is just a presuppose. We don't know that it's going to happen, but if by chance, Trump is either moved out of the way or dies in office, which uh,
That could happen.
that could happen. He's certainly, I have to think getting, almost like intensive care unit type care to keep him propped up from day to day. Uh, but let's just say that happens. What does JD Vance presidency look like? What does he do when he gets in?
I don't know what you said because somewhere along the way, either you froze or I froze.
Well, anyway, let's say Trump is out of the picture, JD Vance takes over. What does that look like?
Oh, well, yeah. The thing is, JD Vance has nobody. Nobody. He's got no leverage on anybody. He owes everybody money or everybody something. I don't think anybody owes him anything.
Yeah,
And so let's just assume that JD Vance, that Trump wakes up dead tomorrow. JD Vance, because they got nobody else, suddenly becomes the VP. Oh, I think they're gonna. It's gonna be pretty ugly. There's gonna be a power struggle, and you're really gonna see the knives come out in an ugly way. Already, for instance, we're seeing the Project 25 crowd already at odds over both the institutionalists and the MAGA side. Lindsey Graham's got a challenger, you know?
oh, way to the right. And
Well, a
he's the
Project
guy that
25
led
guy.
Project 2025.
I don't know what his position was in it. He was like the project manager. He was somewhere running it, somewhere in some managerial head, production capacity for it. But yeah, now he's running against Lindsey Graham. How will that go? I have no idea. South Carolina is a weird ass state, and I have done my best to stay the hell out of it. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's why, I don't be surprised if Stephen Colbert, who's famously from South Carolina, loves the state, sings its praises left and right. I mean, the Democrats are openly calling for him to jump in the race.
I would say if Stephen Colbert were from North Carolina, that would be realistic because North Carolina is about as purple as you could possibly be. There is no state, in my estimation, that is closer to the edge of flipping than North Carolina. Just look at the numbers. South Carolina, you can't say that about. South Carolina is just populated by a bunch of idiots. It is. Look at who represents them. They've always been that way. I mean, come on, it's where the
The
Civil
wrecking
War
crew.
started, and they haven't gotten any smarter or more patriotic since then.
Well, it's a nice thought experiment. So,
I would love to see. We always have this fantasy that some very famous, very telegenic person, whether it's what's his face, George Clooney, Stephen Colbert. For God's sake, just saw a show where the guy from Saturday Night Live, the former Minnesota senator, was
Al
playing.
Franken.
Yeah, Al Franken. These are all people that we have somewhat fantasized about running from the left and getting up there. And the reality is, it seldom works out. I mean, yes, we have had a movie actor president. Yes, we have had movie actor governors before, but that's been the exception rather than the rule. And it's not that Stephen Colbert would be bad. I think he'd be great. It's a question of whether he's actually electable, because that fame is a two-edged sword. There are just as many people that think he's an asshole
Oh yeah.
as think he's great.
Yeah, I mean, his audience is definitely skews left. There is no doubt about that. Yeah, I mean, like,
Well, yes.
duh.
Yes. And I'm sure that that is very well known in the state of South Carolina. And there are a lot of people that are just as happy, a lot of South Carolinians who are just as happy that he's not there anymore. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I don't get a vote in it. And there's no way in hell I'm going to move to South Carolina just so I can have one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I agree. Well, here's the thing I read today that I don't know how concerned to be, but it's like some polls were recently done by the Wall Street Journal that gave the Democrats as a, just an institution, their lowest favorability rating ever.
I can totally see that. I mean, I'm a Democrat and I think Democrats are idiots. I mean, it's that is indeed a problem. It's a huge problem. Democrats have done nothing to deserve victory. If your only claim to fame is we're not them, I mean, they're still going to get my vote because they are not them. I'm not going to vote for a bunch of Nazi fascist idiots. But that doesn't mean that I think that a democratic government is going to do great and wonderful things. I think they're going to have to get the wrinkles out of their socks pretty damn quickly, and I'm not sure how quickly they can do that.
Well, so what? Let's talk about what that would look like. What do we need, to come up with a platform? Because I mean, the whole thing is, we can say that we're pro-union. We're not going to take your health care away. All this other stuff. But when you've got the other side, working to undermine everything you've ever done, and it's like, I think there's also an optics problem and a marketing problem.
Well, there certainly is, but I would say more to the point, the Democratic leadership is conflicted and has been conflicted for a long time, probably all of my lifetime, or at least my political lifetime, between representing the institutional wealthy and the common people. And every time they get a chance to do the right thing, and do something that is truly progressive, for instance, the issue of minimum wage, the issue of taxation of billionaires, they will sometimes talk about it, but when it comes down to actually doing it, there are never enough Democratic votes on the Hill to make that really happen. Oh, they'll occasionally pass a minimum wage that makes it from like $7.50, which I think it is $7.50 now, which is just laughable. They might take it to 15, but in reality, in most of America, a living minimum wage is more around 22, 25 bucks.
25 bucks. And
so
I can tell you, the market's already spoken. It's like at my bar restaurant. If I were to try to get somebody to work for $7.50, it's like they wouldn't even show up. So no. we're already at 25 bucks for most people there.
So
that's just the market. The market speaks there as far as what they'll come in and do it. And,
if they were to do something smart, like say we're going to have a minimum wage that is pegged to the cost of living, so that if the cost of living goes to $30, it's going to be $30 an hour. And there's no, we don't have to vote on it every single time. It doesn't become a political football. Then it would be a non-issue. Other countries have done that. Other major economic, competitors, well, very few compete with us, but people who used to partner with us do exactly that. So it's not like this is magic. Same thing with socialized medicine. This is not magic. We almost had socialized medicine back during World War II.
Yeah,
but we made it. We made a decision to peg it to the employers, and the employer said, "We can do this. We got it. We'll provide health care to our people." Well, here we are 70 some odd years later, and that didn't work out too well. But we can't figure it out because we're scared of the word socialism. Well, that's a huge problem. That is a massive problem. And honest to God, at this point, I don't know if we're ever going to get past that. I don't.
I think that you've got a chance to, in the next couple of years, to get way past that because I'm going to double and triple down on this. The only way that you're going to get the attention of these people is to have them get hurt and hurt badly. That's the only thing. I mean, right now,
I
you look
I
at,
agree with that.
I mean, it's
I
cruel,
want I want to see
but
the Democrat or the Republican Party just burn to the ground. And I want to see Democrats look at that and go, oh, well, okay, maybe, maybe we can finally, maybe we should eject some of our assholes as well.
well, I mean, we had a chance to do that. I mean, down here in Arizona, 7. You had
Yes,
a choice between Deja Fox and Adelita Grijalva, and it went overwhelmingly for the institutionalist Adelita. Now, I mean, and
yes.
don't get me wrong, she's not a bad person. I think she's going to do fine, but you had a chance to really shake things up and send in this young, energetic AOC type personality. I mean, the biggest knock on her I heard on her, well, what has she done for the community so far? Well, no, she's 25, 26, and you have a chance to send somebody to Washington that's going to be on your side. And instead, we put Adelita in, instead of taking somebody that hadn't paid their dues. I just so sick of that. I mean, I
I
see that
that's
again and
yes.
again. Well, you got to just wait your turn and pay your dues. Go out and do something for the community, and maybe 2 or 3, 4 election cycles. We'll consider it. And it's like bullshit. I mean, it's just utter bullshit. And that's how we have Chuck Schumer sitting there writing his sternly worded letters, telling him, the Republicans, how upset he is. And it's like, what? That's going to do something?
So,
We need somebody that's going to come in and be a firebomber right now.
Chuck Schumer is the example that I would point to if you had to pick one guy. And honestly, Chuck Schumer has done some great things in the past 50 years, but it's been 50 fucking years, and it's and I'm sorry, but his mindset, his understanding of how to get things done and what is needed outside of DC is 50 years old. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get that things have moved. He doesn't get the really and truly. It is the AOCs and the Maxwell Frosts and the youngsters there who are the ones who we need to take over and lead us into that future. But he won't get out of the way, and most of these folks won't.
Well, I mean, we've had, since the first of the year, 6 congressional people die with their boots on in office. All of them Democrats, every last one of them.
Yeah.
And
To include the congressman one district over,
yeah.
who everybody knew was going to die, but he was elected anyway because they couldn't figure out how to replace him. Jerry Connolly, great guy, but let's be realistic. We knew he was sick. At least one of the other Congress people, a district over, when she was diagnosed with prefrontal dementia, Loeys disease, whatever Loeys.
That's you do not want that one.
And no, and she straight up said, "Look, I'm dying. I literally," she said, "I'm dying. I cannot do this. Let's find somebody." She did it the right way, but she was my age. I mean, she was young. Well, I think I'm still young.
You are,
but that there aren't enough people who do that. God bless her, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She should have retired well before Trump came into office, and so on and so on and so on.
Instead, their selfishness got us into this mess. Well, I mean, you could, point that finger at Biden.
100%. Yes.
He should have said, I'm slowing down, or somebody around him should have said that before George Clooney goes in, has it, and it's like, I mean, I think it was either one of his uncles or his dad, that he dealt with dementia, Alzheimer's. And
Yeah.
so if you've been through that, you know what it looks like.
Yeah.
and you see, the searching for words, I mean, which Trump does, like basically
Well,
almost
I search
out of
for
his
words
mouth.
too, but I don't think I'm there yet. But we'll see. My kids might feel differently. I don't know. But I'm sorry. Carry on though.
So, but well, I mean, and speaking with Trump, I mean, it's uh, you're seeing even more emotional lability out of this guy right now, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and when you see people insulting him to his face, world leaders, uh, I don't know where that goes. I mean, it's like one of the things with the emotional lability is he's already, famous for having a temper he can't control,
Yes.
and he goes off. Is there somebody around him that's going to put the cover over the nuclear button that you have to, flip it up before you press it? And
Well, it's I don't think it's really that easy, but meaning that it's not like there's an actual button to
yeah,
do.
yes,
But
I know.
yes, the
Bring me the football.
so, yeah, supposed to be several human filters in there that can do that. It came out. I don't know, maybe the first Trump presidency that somebody had put that filter in place for Nixon just before he resigned because he was wandering around the White House drunk at night,
Talking to paintings, yeah.
talking to pictures on the wall. So
Yeah, I
somebody
mean,
had
I
put
think I
that into
read it
place.
was either Al Haig or somebody from that generation
I think it might have been Dick Cheney. Actually, I think Dick Cheney was SecDef.
that basically told the generals that if you get any orders from the president, you can ignore them.
Yeah, you talk to me first. Yeah,
Now talk to me first, and I'll let you know if it's valid. So,
yeah.
but having said that, what have uh, Trump and Miller and all these Hegseth and all these other guys been doing to the military and especially the brass?
I, Destroying it. First off, there are multiple reports out about the friction between the professional military and the professional staff and the political appointees under Hegseth. I mean, Hegseth's fired a bunch of people and has not been able to replace them. He can't get people to even apply for the positions because nobody wants to work for him.
Oh, I mean,
You've
it's
got things
toxic.
that need to be done. People are dropping the ball, and people just think he's an idiot. I mean, the word in the Pentagon is that Hegseth is exactly what we knew him to be, a drunken idiot that is very, very self-conscious about how he looks, how he appears, and has zero self-confidence about his ability to actually do anything other than look the part, which
Well, I
clearly
mean,
he's
and the
not.
thing is, you could say that for basically all of Trump's cabinet, that they're
Well,
play acting.
well, case in point, uh, what's her face? Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard. You know, she is such a flake. When she was running as a Democrat for the presidency in 2020, she was one of two of those. What were there? 19 of them at some point. There was a
Yeah,
ton of
it was
them.
a lot.
She she was one of two that I said publicly. You didn't know me then. That if she if she won office, I would not vote for her. I just would not vote for her. Period. The other one was Marianne Williamson, who was only slightly less objectionable, but they were both flakes. Then, when she didn't win, she became an even bigger turd and a complete joke. And when Trump picked her for for the head of intelligence, for God's sake, I just took that as a symbol for how little he thought about intelligence. How little it was basically a big fuck you to the entire intelligence
He doesn't
community.
understand it. It's like, he doesn't understand soft power. The only thing he understands is, let me get a club and beat you over the head with it. That's been, his New York developer style,
Yeah.
and there's no nuance with him. Zero.
So, yeah, yes, he surrounds himself with idiots who will do what he wants to them to do. He can't stand anybody looking smarter or better than him in the room. So he's got nobody but sycophants to do that. Like this Todd Besant,
Yeah.
the labor or the Treasury Secretary. What a complete buffoon. He
Oh,
says things. It's like when he comes on and talks about tariffs, it's like Baghdad Bob from 2003. It's ridiculous.
Well, I keep going over with some of my MAGA acquaintances. They're, oh man, these tariffs, they're working. I mean, this is like five-dimensional chess. They're working just like they're supposed to. And I keep going, you do understand that it's not China paying the tariff. We pay the tariff. It's like, do you not get that? And it's like, oh no,
So
no, no, China will eat part of that cost. And it's like, how are they going to do that?
yeah, Stellantis, which I think used to be GM, whatever. They're the ones that own
That
all the
Chrysler.
GM Chrysler. Sorry, Chrysler. Stellantis is posting huge losses. The leak is already out. They're not reporting until I think Thursday. Sometime this week, the official reports are going to come out, but they're already prepping the field by saying it's going to be bad, like really bad, like
Well,
big,
once
huge
that
losses.
hits, and again, it's like, it's like the road. I'm not the road runner, but the coyote walks off of the cliff, and as long as he doesn't look down, he sits
He's
there
fine.
hovering. He's fine. As soon as he looks down, bam, hole in the ground. And I think that's what's going to be happening with our economy.
Well, if you look at the financial markets as a barometer, people keep saying, "Oh my God," but the record highs, record highs. But there's so little volume compared to what it normally is. So there's a lot of churning, but it's with very little buyers and sellers, and there's a shit ton of cash sitting on the side in the institutional market, meaning that those mutual fund investors, the ones who really buy the stocks and the bonds, they're waiting for their opportunity. They got cash on hand, ready to go,
well, I mean,
and they're not committing until that market tanks.
well, I mean, Warren Buffett. I forgot what percentage of his portfolio he liquidated, but it was
It
substantial.
was trillions.
Yeah.
It was trillions.
I think the thing is I don't look at the stock market as a economic barometer anymore because I think it's totally divorced from the day-to-day economy. Uh, the place I look at is what I use for a inflation fear gauge. Gold has always been there, but now Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin in the last 2 months has gone from $80 to 120 today. That's a 50% gain.
I and I'm going to just say right now that one of the smartest things I heard about investing is don't invest in anything you don't understand. And I don't understand the first fucking thing about Bitcoin. I mean,
Well,
I know it exists. I but what is it? I mean, what is the underlying value of Bitcoin other than just emotion?
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, which
It's your faith that if I buy a Bitcoin, you know, you have something to sell me. I give it, and it's your faith that then you can turn around and give it to somebody else, and they'll give you something. But
and
it's
and
like,
at some point I just keep thinking that somebody's going to realize there was a great Far Side cartoon, Gary Larson Far Side cartoon, and it showed a field of cows, and they're all out there grazing in the field. And in the middle of this field, hundreds of yards off from our perspective, one cow is standing up and saying, "Grass! We're eating grass." That's where I feel somebody is eventually going to be with Bitcoin and realize there's nothing here.
well, okay, I'm gonna as a thought experiment. Other than the full faith and credit of the United States, what we don't back it with gold anymore.
Well, you're
Which is
right.
why we've had a 10% fall in the value of the dollar in the last month.
And my response to that is that it used to be that full faith and credit of the United States meant something in the world. It did. I
What
don't
happens when it
know
doesn't?
why anybody would believe that anymore.
Well, that's a real question you have to start asking.
A lot of people clearly are asking that question. What happens when people don't think the value the dollar is worth what we think it should be?
Exactly. Well, I tell you what, you're hungry. My eyes are still dilated from being at the eye doctor. It's like everything's like sort of blurry looking.
Wait a minute. Didn't I just see you on a call in the OR? You were in the OR with your eyes dilated. This is giving me great confidence about
I
our
was not in the
medical.
OR. I was sitting in my eye doctor's, that chair where
Oh,
they fold the thing over your face, and it's like one or
oh,
two, one or two.
okay, okay. So it was a medical setting. It was just not one where you had to perform as
No,
in your professional
no,
capacity.
they were
Okay,
they were.
I feel better now.
I was the patient.
I
So
can see
anyway,
you.
any thoughts on what batshit crazy? I mean, it's like I can't even come up with something so crazy that it seems totally couldn't happen because it keeps happening.
I keep seeing these memes about how writers of the Onion are in therapy because they can't figure out
Which
how to,
is
what. Yeah,
gross.
I'll throw this out there, and this is based on an opinion piece that was published by MSNBC by one of their legal people, and they've got usually pretty good legal people in MSNBC. And that is that Trump certainly can and is teasing about pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell, but he won't. And
Why? Because
he won't
he's got
because,
a ton of reason to.
but he won't because this is the supposition on the editorial. He won't pardon her because Trump has only pardoned people that can give him good press. So I'm not going. I'm not going to take a. I'm not going to place any bets on that at all. But
Yeah,
that's
but
an
as
interesting
soon as
point.
he does that, it's going to be a firestorm.
He will absolutely, yes, pardoning somebody who was convicted of child trafficking
Well, she also
is
did
going to
some
be
of
a
the sexual raping and abusing too. She
yeah.
actively participated in that.
Pardoning somebody like that is going to cause a lot of maggots to really have to swallow hard and figure out what they want to do. And I, honest to God, I don't think I don't think he's going to have all of them falling behind him. I think there's a lot of them that are probably just going to stay home next year if it comes down to that.
Well, I mean, my thought was if he does partner, if she thought her life was in danger in prison, yeah, I hope you've got a fortress to move to.
Yeah, I think if he were to pardon her, her next stop out of the jail would be somewhere far away, away from the U.S.
Well, that's just it. I mean, yeah, if she's pardoned, she could leave, couldn't she? It's not like
I
she
think
was,
so.
yeah. So
If
yeah,
you're pardoned, I mean, you're pardoned. You've got nothing. I mean, it's not like you're paroled. You don't
yeah, I
have to
would be
check
getting
in
on
with
that
anybody.
Lolita Express jet and starting heading someplace without an extradition treaty or something.
Yeah, yeah. Tibet sounds nice. It's so
Well,
anyway.
anyway,
I but
why don't we call it? We'll come back next week. Hopefully, we can be a little more, or I won't be. It's like this is like the third or fourth week in a row that Monday's supposed to be a day that's like a dead day for me, but it's like I've been running into. It's like I'm the only anesthesiologist that didn't go out of town here the last 4 weeks, so it's like so.
that'll teach you.
Oh, I need to get out. So anyway, I'm hoping next week's school's starting this next week, so everybody should be back, and I should have Mondays a little less chaotic than before, and hopefully we
All
can.
right. Well, listen. Have a good week. We'll see what madness ensues and what we'll be talking about next week. I got a
Okay.
feeling though, Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein aren't going away.
No, they are not. I'm sure we'll
Okay.
be talking about them 168 hours from
All right.
now. So,
All right.
okay.
Talk to you
All
later.
right.
Have a good one.
Okay. Bye.